What's up everybody, and welcome to part 3 of my game flow series on Ramza Beolv. Now, since my last two videos, Ramza has had a few changes. The two that are most important to me though are his buffs to how his focus works. So when he's charging, so he can do his team buff or his self buff, now the gauge starts charging immediately when you press the button. There's no delay on that. And if you've held the button down, when you let go of it, you can cancel the charge immediately. So what this ultimately results in is encouraging micro charges. So you can charge a little bit, let it go, charge a little bit, let it go. So you won't be able to see any of that in this fight, but what I will show you is how he's able to effectively use the team buff, which has been localized to be called Galvanize rather than Cheer or Steel. And I just want you to see what happens that allows his team to dominate this fight so much. So of course, as usual, he's going to start the fight by charging, but you see he gave his team buff first this time rather than himself. Now if you look at the enemy team, they kind of just stood back and let them charge because they also have a Ramza on their team. So our Ramza used that opportunity to, rather than buff himself, to give his team the starting advantage since the other team's Ramza decided to buff himself first. And so now what you want to notice is that, kind of like in the Holy match, he's going to play a little bit more support. And the reason he's able to accomplish what he does is he stays close to his teammates. And while he's got them buffed, Jekt and Ultimecia make a potent combo with playing off of each other and allowing themselves to build brave. And should anyone get by them, you know, Ramza hits like a truck when he's in shout mode. So going forward in this fight, you'll see that they kind of stick to a formation, not a shape of a formation, but they stay close to each other much better than the other team does. And he was able to nail that triple break right then just because Titus came out of his team while Ramza's team stayed together. And so if you're looking at the screen right now, someone was close, Ultimecia knocked them away, so he was just able to finish his charge. Again, Titus is surrounded by his team, and the other team is not together. So playing as Ramza, staying together with your team is really important because otherwise you won't have the latitude to charge yourself. And like you saw in some of the other videos, if you're off by yourself, then your team is in a 3v2, and those were much closer matches than this match is going to be, because they stayed together for the majority of the time. Now I say majority of the time because, as you can see right now, once they summoned, Ramza stayed charging and the rest of his team shifted, and this is the only big damage his team takes the whole match. And so now he's going to charge up while he's invulnerable, but then he's immediately going to head back to where his team is because he realizes the mistake he made. So if you're playing as Ramza in a team, it's going to be important that your team understands to play off of you. It's going to be difficult for you to just jump into a situation with Ramza and be able to do the things that he does. Your team needs to know that they have to protect you, or that they have to guard the perimeter while you do your charges. See, even now, Ultimecia and Jekt were facing down two of the other enemies, keeping them at bay from coming in closer. And in the fight, I'm sure there wasn't a coordinated effort to, hey, let's keep them on the other side of the field, but the effect was achieved nonetheless because Ramza was standing in a back line close behind them. And so this fight is over at this point. Ultimecia is going to land the kill, and everyone has quite a dominant amount of brave, just because they were able to keep their formation and they kind of controlled the brave for the whole match. So as Ramza, you know, in the arcade he has a low play rate, and this is most likely the main cause, just because if your team doesn't play to you, then you're heavily handicapped, crippled even. So the game is coming out soon, and I just want all the Ramza players to keep that in their mind. that you might have a rough go of it, but once you get some friends and you start to play together, I think the situation will improve a lot. And if you want to play Ramza, you know, this is just Japanese arcade players. You figure out the tech, you figure out how to make him do his best in any scenario. That's what I want to see. So until next time, Nameless Heroes.